Sergey Kovalev wins a 12-round unanimous decision over Isaac Chilemba. There is quite a big reaction online from the people who watched this fight. A lot of people thought that Sergey Kovalev looked terrible. A lot of people have changed their minds about who they think is going to win out of Kovalev and Ward. A lot of people who were previously picking Ward are now saying that, people who are previously picking Kovalev, a lot of them are now saying they're going to be picking Ward in the fight. They think Ward is going to school him. Their whole perception of Sergey Kovalev as a fighter, many people, has totally been flipped on its head. My perception of Kovalev hasn't been flipped on his head. I see him as the same fighter as I did before. I've noticed certain weaknesses that he does have now, which could be exploited by the right fighter that has the right type of tools and ability. But essentially, I'm not shocked by what happened at all. Going into the fight, I've seen, obviously, Isaac Chilemba fight many times. I knew that he was very awkward. He's defensively good. He's strong. He's a tough guy. And, you know, the fact that he made it as awkward for Kovalev as he did, it's not shocking. Kovalev nearly got Chilemba out of there. He did manage to drop him in the 7th. But I have to be honest, up until the 5th round, in fact, after 5 rounds, I had Chilemba winning by a point. I had him 3-2 up after 5. In the second half of the fight, I thought Kovalev's power started to tell a bit more. But after that 7th round knockdown, Kovalev wasn't really able to take advantage of that swing, that shift in the action, and get Chilemba out of there. He did look tired, particularly in the later rounds. Some people are saying, well, Kovalev wasn't in shape. I think he was in shape. Kovalev's a guy who's always in shape. He's had a camp for this particular fight. I think he was in shape. There may have been some issue in terms of jet lag, possibly, for the fight. I don't know. He's used to fighting in the United States. I don't know whether he did his training camp in the United States or whether he did it in Russia. I don't know. If he did the training camp in Russia, then there's no jet lag issue. But if he did it in the States and then came to Russia, you know, a week or 2 before the fight, maybe there might be some jet lag issue there. I think the main reason why Kovalev was tired, though, is not because of jet lag or him not being in shape. None of that. I think the main reason why he was so tired in the fight, in the late stage of the fight, is because he was getting hit more than he was used to, particularly with a right hook to the body that Chilemba kept throwing again and again. Even in the 11th and 12th round, Chilemba landed that right hook to the body. And I'm telling you now, that was taken out of Kovalev. He don't normally get hit with shots like that. And particularly in the first 5 rounds, Chilemba was having a lot of success with his jab. I remember in the 4th round particularly, he was landing really clean shots, very clean jabs, and clean right hands as well, which were rocking Kovalev's head back. And I think the fact that Kovalev was getting outboxed at points in the fight made Kovalev start to get anxious, because he's in front of his home fans in Russia, the first time he's fought in Russia for a long time, and he wanted to go in there and do a demolition job, and he's got this guy in front of him who's actually cracking him with good shots, rocking his head back. I think Kovalev did start getting a little anxious about the way the fight was going, and you could see in the 4th and 5th rounds there was frustration from Kovalev. Once he got the knockdown, I felt like he settled down a little bit and there wasn't so much frustration. But still, weaknesses were exploited there. Andre Ward is definitely going to look at that and say, you know what? I might be able to, I could do something with this guy. I mean, Ward was confident anyway, but after seeing that, I think he'll be more confident. Here's the thing. Andre Ward is a better fighter than Isaac Chilemba, but he's not Isaac Chilemba. This is where styles make fights comes into it, people. Andre Ward is not as tall as Chilemba, and he don't have the type of reach Chilemba has. That's why Chilemba was having the success on the outside that he was having against Kovalev, because he's got a very long reach. The commentators pointed this out in the broadcast, and I have to agree that the reach on BoxRec of 73 inches for Chilemba has got to be BS. There's no way that his reach is only 73 inches. I reckon his reach is at least maybe 75 inches, possibly even longer than that. And Ward don't have that type of reach. Ward's got like a 71-inch reach or something like that, 72. So his reach is as long as Kovalev's, if not shorter. So on the outside, I don't think Ward will give Kovalev the trouble with his jab that Chilemba gave him. You know, Ward will probably be more effective on the inside than Chilemba was. And Chilemba's corner kept telling him, particularly in the later rounds, take it to the inside. Don't give Kovalev room to get his shots off. Take it on the inside, which Chilemba didn't really do. He was landing that nice right hook to the body. That's something Ward's going to have to look at. I know Ward's always had issues with that right shoulder of his, but he has had surgery in recent years to correct whatever problem was there. Ward's never been a spectacular body puncher, but he's going to need to look at that film right there and see the success that Chilemba had with the right to the body, because that really did take it out of Sergey Kovalev, in my opinion. That was getting to him. And to be honest with you, it's lucky that Kovalev wasn't in with a puncher, because Chilemba's only got, you know, what is it, 30% KO ratio. And obviously KO ratios are not always indicative of how hard guys hit, but you can see all the guys that Chilemba's faced. He has hit them clean many times with his best shots and they don't go anywhere. So he's not a puncher. You wonder after watching that, what would happen in a Stevenson-Kovalev fight? Because Stevenson, yes, he's not as awkward as Chilemba, but he does have just as long an arm. Stevenson's got a 77-inch reach as compared to a 72-inch reach for Kovalev. So Stevenson's got terrifically long arms, and he's a southpaw. And he may not be quite as defensively good as Chilemba, maybe not as tough, but because he's got that punching power, Stevenson, he discourages you from coming in. So you might not get the opportunity, or Stevenson might not have to be as defensively good as Chilemba if he's got that type of power which can keep Kovalev off of him, can stop Kovalev from coming forward on him the way he came forward on Chilemba. So yeah, that's still interesting. But as I say, the more you see of a fighter, the more you can start to weigh up how he might do against other fighters. And the way Chilemba used his reach, particularly in the first 5 rounds, Stevenson would look at that and say, you know what, I've got Chilemba's type of reach, but I'm much more powerful than him. And I'm more accurate than him. I can do something like that to Kovalev. I've always said I think Stevenson is past his best now. I think he's slowing down a lot. Apparently Al Heyman told Stevenson to take some time off because he noticed that Stevenson was starting to slow down. But if it was the Stevenson that fought Dawson, I'd give him a good shot against Kovalev. I really would, with that power and that reach. But anyway, we'll probably never see Stevenson against Kovalev anyway. So we got this Stevenson against we got this Kovalev against Ward fight coming up. We have to see how Ward looks against Alexander Brand. Ward to me looked better against Sullivan Barrera than Kovalev looked against Chilemba. I have to say that. Ward didn't look spectacular against Barrera, but he didn't get caught with as many clean, big shots that are rocking his head back the way that Kovalev did against Chilemba. You know, when Ward fought Barrera, yeah, it was a fairly, workmanlike performance, but, nothing spectacular, but he didn't get caught clean that often. Whereas Kovalev got caught clean quite a lot here, people, and he was behind in the fight, for me anyway, after 5 rounds. I had him down 3-2. So we'll have to see how Ward looks against Brand, and then we'll make our predictions. I'm still edging towards Kovalev beating Ward because he does have that power, and even if he is getting outboxed, I think at some stage he'll get to Ward. And if you go back and see Ward against Darnell Boone when he got dropped heavily and hurt badly by Boone, Ward kind of went into his shell for a few rounds. And that's against Darnell Boone. That's a guy who don't really have the boxing skills to take advantage of the fact that Ward's gone into his shell. Whereas if Kovalev drops Ward or hurts him and Ward goes into a shell, that's going to be like a red flag to a bull for Sergey Kovalev. He's just going to go full steam ahead. Because similar to Chilemba, he don't have a big puncher in front of him. So he's just, to me, that's going to be Andre Ward's downfall. As soon as he gets hurt, I struggle to see how he's going to be able to survive. Maybe he'll prove me wrong. I struggle to see how he's going to survive against a guy as strong as Kovalev. So, maybe Ward will be outboxing him, will be getting the better of things, but you'd have to imagine that eventually Kovalev is going to land. We'll see how he looks against Alexander Brand anyway. We'll We'll see that, and then I'll make my final prediction. But I've said all along that I am tipping Kovalev to win. But having seen this Chilemba fight, yeah, there are things. There are little foot movements and things that that Ward can do on the inside against Kovalev, that right hook to the body, things he can do to make him miss. The way that Chilemba was using his shoulder as his defense and ducking under Kovalev's right hand, I think was smart. The most important thing with Kovalev is to counter his mistakes. And Chilemba was doing that fairly well. A lot of fighters don't do that with Kovalev. They might make him miss, but they don't make him pay. You have to make him pay. If you don't make him pay, then he's going to come in with reckless abandon. He's going to throw loads of punches, and eventually he's going to catch you. The one thing you don't want with Kovalev, with a puncher that destructive, is you don't want him letting his hands go. You don't want that. Yeah? You want to make him think, and you want to make him hesitant. And you want the exchanges or the engagements to be dictated by you, not by him. Yeah? That's what you want. So, yeah, Ward is going to have to do more than just making this guy miss. He's going to have to think about, okay, Chilemba did this to make him miss. How do I exploit that situation if I can replicate that defensive move? How do I exploit it and make Kovalev pay? So, yeah, it was a tough fight for Kovalev, this Chilemba fight, don't get it twisted. Definitely the toughest title fight that he's had. Maybe the toughest fight he's had in his professional career, although we haven't seen video of the first Darnell Boone fight. Apparently that was a hellacious fight for Kovalev, and he was down and hurt several times, according to Darnell Boone. So, yeah, tough fight for him. But as I said pre-fight, I think this is good preparation for him for Ward, because he was in there with an awkward guy, a defensive guy. And from a mental point of view, I think it would have done him a lot of good. And he'll know that he needs to tighten up on certain defensive things and, you know, whatnot in the gym. So let me know how you felt about the performance. Were you shocked? By the way, if I didn't mention this pre-fight, Kovalev to win this fight on points was 6-1. And I did mention to a few people online in comments, I said, look, 6-1, that's good odds. That's worth taking. If you're a gambling man, 6-1 is definitely worth taking, because Chilemba's never been stopped. And he's very awkward. So another thing as well, which may have contributed to Kovalev's performance. Again, I'm not one of these people who just thinks it's all because Kovalev underestimated Chilemba and it's all because he wasn't in shape. I don't buy that at all. I think it's most of the reason, or the main reason why Kovalev had so much trouble is because of what Chilemba was doing, and because of the fact he's so damn awkward. And he does have long arms and a good jab. That's the main reason Kovalev had problems. Not because of Kovalev not being in shape or anything like that, but Kovalev fighting in front of his hometown fans. I think I may have talked about this earlier in this video. I forget sometimes. Because he was fighting in front of his home crowd for the first time in a long time. As I say, particularly after the first few rounds when he started getting hit, he must have been feeling maybe a little embarrassed to be getting hit like that in front of his fans, and maybe starting to get a little frustrated that he couldn't land his own shots. You know? So anyway, let me not draw out this video too long. Let me know how you felt about Kovalev's performance. Has this changed your perception of him? Has it changed your perception of how a fight against Andre Ward will go? Drop it all in the comment section below. It's your boy Hatman, I'm out.